Okay, in this tutorial we're going to continue with the rotation of the cube, and I'm going to clean up the issue that we had a couple lessons back where when we used Python the cube was rotating faster. And if you caught that, that was because this value in here is using radians, whereas when the logic bricks it was using degrees. But I'll get to that in a second. But the other thing we're going to do in this lesson is we're going to use the keyboard via Python instead of via the logic bricks. So we looked at the game logic earlier where we could just add a keyboard sensor. Now notice it's a sensor, and within this sensor, well, I'll just come in here and I'll maybe use the A key again by pressing A, but I'm going to give this keyboard a name, and I'm going to call it A key, just like that. Alright, and so then instead of tying it to an actuator over here where it's actually rotating it, I'm going to connect it directly to the Python script that's running as well. Alright, and then from here, in fact, I'll just do one time. I'll just do it so it only recognizes it one time pressing this key. Alright, it's the tap key. So now I'll go back into the script, and in order to get the keyboard sensor, I have this little thing saved right here. So I'm going to call it A key is equal to the controller dot sensors, and I'm going to give it the name of this like this. But in fact, I'll go back to game logic. I'm going to rename this with a capital A key to keep it distinct. So the name of my sensor is called A key, and then under the scripting I'm getting the sensor by calling the sensor here. I'm getting the sensor, but I'm just assigning it to A key like this. Now before I rotate it, I'm going to come down here, I'm going to give it a conditional statement. Conditional meaning that don't do it unless I ask if it's true or false or something. So there's a command called if. So I'm going to just say if A key dot positive, which means the same as if the A key is true, or if it's being activated, then to rotate the cube. Now notice the one thing I have to do is I have to indent these lines by a tab. I didn't have to indent this, but I don't comment, but it keeps it cleaner. And only if the A key is positive, then rotate it. Now I'm going to verify this. So if you think this is 45 degrees, I'm going to type say 45 degrees, and we'll actually see if it rotates at 45 degrees when I press the A key. So I'm going to press P, I'm going to press A, and it's like, well, it doesn't quite look like it rotated at 45 degrees. What it did was rotate at 45 radians. I'm going to press A again, and see, you would think that it would come all the way around to be exact, but it doesn't. In fact, I'll go right above in ortho mode. Now I'll run it again, and I'll press A. It doesn't look like a 45 degree rotation to me. It's 45. In fact, that would be a value in radians. So 45 degrees in radians is approximately 0.785 radians. Now let's run it. Press A, and there's our 45 degree rotation each time, like that. So that was why you had the discrepancy between in here, because by default, well, if you look at the logic bricks, and if you were to go get a motion actuator in here and look at degrees, if you look very closely, in fact I'm going to zoom in so you can see it closely. I'll move it over. You can see there's a little degree symbol like that. I think they do that to keep it simple, or simpler for new users, or for people only using the logic bricks. Alright, but as a programmer, you should basically use radians. That's just the bottom line. Radians. That's the way we work. It's where all the power is, and we're going to need it for all these other forthcoming commands coming up in the future tutorials. Alright, so really quick and easy ways for getting the keyboard and using radians to do the rotation. Okay, well that's it for now, and I'll see you in the next lesson.